Hello. Hello, police. Yeah, what's the problem, sir? We just drove down our farm track. Yeah. Go and feed our pheasants. We've come across a Range Rover with 3 people in it. Yeah. It appears that they're dead. I don't know what's happening. Blood in the motor all over them.
And welcome back to a new video on the Essex Boys case. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in the Essex Boys case, or simply true crime in general, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. And in this video, I'm going to attempt to debunk one of the more curious eyewitness accounts which exist concerning the Rettendon murders. The eyewitness account took place 2 days before the murders themselves and describes a man acting suspiciously near the crime scene. Firstly, let's take a look at the following eyewitness account. The following police statement is from Alan Grayston, dated the 29th of December 1995. I'm the above described and I live at the address Overleaf. I am employed as a commercial director of Haven Freight Services Limited at 212 High Road, South Benfleet, Essex. On Monday, the 4th of December 95, I was travelling from my home address in Felixstowe to our work premises in South Benfleet. My route took me along the A130 between Chelmsford and Rayleigh, Essex. Just past the premises and land of White House Farm, Rettendon, I saw a white 3 Series BMW parked in a bridle walk on the near side at the bottom of the hill. Since reading about the murders of 3 males at the Rettendon area, I have seen flowers laid on the ground beside the entrance from the A130 to the same bridleway. The BMW was reversed into the entrance of this bridleway, but was jutting out onto the road and caused both myself and a vehicle in front of me to make a slight diversion around it. The vehicle in front was an Amtrak 12-metre articulated lorry with a curtain-sided trailer on the rear. The BMW was not occupied. It was a square-shaped vehicle and probably about 6 or 7 years old. It was very clean and polished and well looked after. As I passed the vehicle up the hill, I saw a male person who was walking down the field on the near side from the direction of the large house on the hill towards the bridleway. He was about 20 yards into the field and I saw him through an opening in the perimeter fence from the road. The fence is a triple bar wooden fence and some parts you can see through. I noticed him in particular because we made eye contact. He looked straight at me. I was only travelling at about 5 miles per hour, having just passed the white BMW. It appeared he was walking towards the BMW. I would describe him as follows. White-skinned European, 5'10" to 5'11", well-built and fit-looking. Early to mid-30s, short-cropped dark brown hair. He had a striking resemblance to a well-known footballer called Steve Ball of Wolverhampton Wanderers in looks and build. He had either a designer stubble or a few days' growth on his face. He was wearing a military-style khaki officer's jumper and a tanned leather pair of heavy lace-up boots, which came about 4 to 5 inches above the ankle. These are what dockers or riggers would normally wear. He had a white t-shirt which could be seen above the collar line of the jumper. He was holding a pair of binoculars in his left hand which were in the case. The case was dark in colour. I did not see where he went as I carried on my journey. I would recognise this male again and I am willing to attend court if required. Now this is one of those statements that I've covered on a few occasions on the channel over the last couple of years regarding the Rettendon murders. And when people hear of this statement, one of the first things that they jump to, or one of the first conclusions they jump to I should say, is that this could well have been someone scoping out the crime scene. Someone looking down at the lane below, a pair of binoculars, the car parked in a very bizarre position, sort of jutting out onto the main road so that people have to drive around it. All very bizarre, considering this was 2 days before the murder of Tucker, Tate and Rolfe. Some people have even suggested that this could well have been Jack Wombs who was scoping out the crime scene just 2 days before the murders were due to take place. Potentially checking the comings and goings of Workhouse Lane, maybe seeing if that gate was in fact open during that time period or in fact closed. And really just getting a good, an idea of the lay of the land during daylight hours. And then I guess when we take a look at the facial features being described in this police statement, a lot of people even then suggest this could have been Steve Nipper Ellis. Could this have been Nipper Ellis standing on the hill with the binoculars, again scoping out the crime scene? When I've made videos on this in the past, I guess I kind of sat on the fence, to be perfectly honest. Yes, this could have been someone who was, as I say, scoping out the crime scene, checking the comings and goings, but the description of this man gave me the impression that he was somehow connected to White House Farm. I said back then, this looks like a farmer, this sounds like a farmer. Could this just be someone who is potentially connected to White House Farm? And this is really just, an innocent eyewitness account here. Now, when you hear this statement for the first time, I guess it does come across as quite bizarre. The fact that this guy is standing there with the binoculars, he's on a hill. This isn't, some sort of public footpath. This is basically just a plain old hill up to a house with a wooden fence all around the outside. So it's not really a place that offers, easy public access, I guess you could say. So it is one of those bizarre sightings, particularly how that BMW is parked. It's kind of obstructing the main road a little bit. It's parked in a, I guess you could say, a bit of a dangerous position. This guy is there walking back towards it. He's got binoculars in his hands, khaki officer's jumper, rigger's boots. It's quite a bizarre one. But I think for me, when I first heard it, it was the fact that this was all seen during broad daylight, which made me think, hang on a minute, would you actually really be doing that out in the open? If you were actually scoping out a crime scene, looking at where a triple murder was going to take place, I can see obviously the benefits of doing that during the daylight hours. As I said earlier, you get a better idea of the lay of the land, etc. But surely it was a little bit risky to attempt such a thing, within full view of the passing traffic and people at Rettendon Hall, and also people who are potentially driving down Workhouse Lane. Now, literally by pure chance, just the other day, when I was recording one of my other videos, I came across a statement which mentions something that caught my eye. I actually believe I have found out exactly who this individual was. Are you ready? It's the farmer's brother. It's William Theobald. I believe that this is William Theobald, who is seen just below Rettendon Hall. And I'll explain why when I read out his statement, his police statement, which was given on the 11th of December 1995 by William Theobald. It's towards the end of the statement that he states the following. I currently only shoot on a Wednesday up to around 18:30 hours. On Wednesday, the 6th of the 12th, 95, the shooting stopped when it became too dark. I estimate the last shots were fired around 15:45 hours. I do have lighting facilities to allow us to shoot after dark, but on the above date it was getting cold and the last visitor had an interest in our lakes, so we went on to discuss my pond, which is beside my home. I am obviously aware of the shooting incident which occurred on our land just off of Workhouse Lane. The last time I visited this area was on Monday the 4th of December when I walked across the land and up to Rettendon Hall at about 8 AM in the morning when I had a job to do for Mr. Foe the occupier. So I believe this explains this particular eyewitness account. We go back to the original account for one moment. This was on the morning of Monday the 4th of December. This man was seen walking back from Rettendon Hall. What do we have here but someone who lives right next to White House Farm, most probably was dressed in that way, like a farmer or someone from the countryside, which he most probably would have been. And what was he doing at 8 AM in the morning? He had a job for Mr. Foe, the owner of Rettendon Hall, the house on the top of the hill. So he's most likely walked past White House Farm or taken his vehicle to the entrance of Workhouse Lane and walked up to see Mr. Foe, the occupier. To me, this makes perfect logical sense. The timings match in terms of it being in the morning. We have William Theobald here saying it was around 8 AM that he had a job to do for Mr. Foe. And he actually says there, I walked across the land and up to Rettendon Hall. So basically he's used the hill. He's walked up and down the hill. And I strongly believe that this is exactly who is being described in this eyewitness account here. If you would like to learn more about the Range Rover murders, then click on the video in front of you now. You will also see the Essex Boys playlist, which has all of the videos concerning this case in one convenient folder. Many thanks for joining me for this video. I look forward to seeing you all again for the next one. Take care. Cheers.